Hello everyone, welcome back for one final round with our EWM Monitor, SAP EWM Monitor. In the previous videos we saw what is the SAP EWM Monitor, how it can be useful, how many different reports are automatically available in standard, and also how you can personalize your layout. You can do the sorting of the data, the filtering, you can export data into Excel, do the sums of totals, and really play with the data, also doing actions. So taking action on the data immediately, blocking the bins, creating tasks, changing attributes to the stock, and many other things. Today, we're gonna focus on how can I make my personalized node where I can automate a specific selection of data and display exactly what I want with just few clicks. And also, how can I automatically refresh the data that is displayed in the monitor? Let's have a look together. Let's jump in the system. All right, first things first, the transaction. I actually have it here ready to be double clicked, but I'm gonna type it instead this time, /n/scwm/mon, the monitor. And in the monitor, you can see on the left, I have some of the nodes of the standard SAP monitor. I know it's the standard monitor, it writes here. And I also know I'm in my warehouse KT01, it's written here. Of course, you can always display this data by clicking on the small man smiling, the default values, warehouse number, and the monitor, SAP standard monitor in this case. Great, so you know that, for example, let's say I'm a shift lead. I'm working in a warehouse, and on a regular basis I want to see the warehouse tasks that are open, and maybe there's a specific storage type, let's say the 0020 storage type, where I really want to see how many tasks are going in, how many tasks are taking goods out from the 0020. So I really want to see all the open tasks that are currently working on the storage type 0020. What I would do in that case is I would go to Documents, Warehouse Tasks, a report. I would double click the report, and here in the selection screen I would just select the open warehouse tasks. Therefore I'm not interested in the cancel tasks, I'm not interested in the tasks on hold, I'm not interested in the confirmed tasks. I only want to see the open warehouse tasks that still need to be executed. And in terms of do they have anything to do with the storage type 0020, well, here below I also have transaction data, and I can select which storage type is the task moving the goods from, and also which storage types is the warehouse task moving the goods to. So if I leave both ticks from and to, it means if I put the 0020 storage type here, it means I'm gonna select all the open tasks that are moving stock from 0020 and all the open tasks that are moving to the storage type 0020. So great, let's assume this is a regular check that me as the warehouse shift lead will be doing with the monitor. Of course, I can every time double click, input this data, search, and I can display the warehouse tasks. Okay, in this case there's only one. I see the status is open, so I have one task, the task number 578. And of course here on the right I could go and search for where is the source bin and where is the destination bin. So where am I picking from, where I'm picking to. You see the destination bin is here and the source bin is here. But instead of searching like this, my advice is, if you're just going to check one single object, in this case one single task, it's better to first of all put the full screen on, so you use the full screen, and next you click on your task, you select the task, and you click on the form view button right here. What the system will do is it will use the entire screen to display all the task information. And of course you can see the task number, you can see the warehouse process type, the type of activity, you can see the material, you can see who created this task, when was it created, and below, as I scroll down, you can see the movement data, and you can see where am I moving the stock from. So I'm moving stock from the storage type 8040, source bin scrap, and I'm moving into storage type 0020, destination bin ST0001011014. So this is why this task was selected, is because the destination storage type is 0020 and the status of the task is open. If we go up and we check the status here, you see it's blank. Blank status means open, ready to be executed. Okay? If you're not sure of the status value, you can always click on the field status, click on the small icon to the right. It's also function button F4 if you want to use the function buttons. And here you see all the possible values of the status of the task. It can be open, ready to be executed. It could be canceled, which means it was created but no one executed it and it was canceled. It can be in waiting, on hold. It means there's something else that can happen before I can execute this task. And confirmed, meaning the task was executed, so everything is completed. Alright, so basically what I'm saying now is, interesting to see the task, great, but if I am the warehouse shift lead and I need to regularly check if there are open tasks moving from or moving to the 0020 storage type, instead of me doing all these clicks to select, because you saw that I had to double click and click and click and click and put 0020, right? Instead of doing all these clicks all the time, is there a better, faster way for me to select the data I need? Well, the answer is yes, there is a better way. How can we do that? We can do that with the personalized nodes. How do we create a personalized node? Well, first of all, you right click on the node that you want to personalize. So in this case, it's the warehouse task node. I'm going to right click. And here you can create your own variant of this node. So I'm going to create a variant node for the category level. Click. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to name it ZMJ underscore open tasks 0020. The presentation text, I will put open tasks 0020. Okay. I'm going to create it with the subtree. The subtree is literally just allowing, you see the warehouse task has serial number as a sub-object. With subtree means that the system is going to create all the sub-nodes so you can navigate across the object. So I'm going to keep that. I have no problem. I'm going to keep the serial numbers as a sub-node. So with subtree. And as I clicked it, you see that a personalized node was created. Now, as I created it, it's really a copy-paste of the original node. So right now it has nothing different, which means if I double-click the ZMJ open tasks, it's going to behave exactly as the standard warehouse task. Double-click on the ZMJ node. You see that basically here I can again select everything I need exactly the same as with the warehouse tasks. And if I search, I'm going to search all the tasks now in the system. I don't think there's that many. Let's see. And here you see all the tasks in the system selected using the ZMJ node. Now, what if I wanted this ZMJ open tasks 0020 to only select open tasks and only select tasks that are moving from or moving to the 0020 storage type? Well, if I want to do that, the first thing to do is to create the selection variant. What do I mean with selection variant? Let's double click again on ZMJ. As I double click on ZMJ, the selection screen pop-up appears. This selection screen pop-up allows me to input the data I want to select. So if I want only open tasks, I need to remove canceled, on hold, and confirmed. And I also need to put 0020 in the storage type field, meaning only tasks that are from storage type 020 or to storage type 020. And now what I'm going to do, instead of executing, I'm going to save this selection variant. What it means is this specific data set for selection will be saved and I can reuse it over and over again automatically. So let's save first. I'm going to save it. I'm going to call this variant name MJ open tasks. Also in the description I'll put exactly the same. And I'm going to save. And as I saved this selection variant, now what I can do is I can right click again on my personalized nodes, on my variant node, and I can assign a selection variant and I can ask the system to trigger this selection variant, so only open tasks, only storage type 0020, without showing the selection screen. So basically when I double click, I should see on the right only open tasks and only tasks that are moving from or moving to storage type 020. Let's try do that. So without showing the selection screen, without showing the pop-up, please use the variant MJ open tasks. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Great. Let's try. Let's try double click. The expectation is no pop-up, one. And on the right, I should see only one task, the one that is open and moving into the 0020 storage type. Double click. And here we are. So what happens is that I can very easily, very quickly set up personalized nodes, creating variant nodes, and I can enable a shift lead, a person working, doing day-by-day operational, also repetitive activities of reporting. Maybe they have 4 or 5 key reports they keep running over and over again. I can really make it easy with EWM Monitor to set up those reports to be available at a double click of a mouse and just open and show the data that is needed. I can also personalize this layout. We saw this in the previous video. So this layout here could be representing exactly the data that I'm interested in. So let's personalize that layout as well, just to show you. I'm going to change this layout. So these are the displayed columns. These are the column sets that are not used. I'm actually going to remove almost everything. I'm going to leave the warehouse task. I'm going to leave the warehouse task item. Sometimes if it's confirmed, it could be useful. Although for open task, it's not really useful. I'm actually going to remove it. I'm going to leave the warehouse process type. I'm going to remove everything else. I'm going to leave the activity, which is interesting. And I'm only going to leave the source bin and destination bin. Okay, so let me move this stuff to the right. So removing, and then from here all the way down until source storage bin and destination storage bin. I'm actually going to keep the storage type as well. Source storage type and destination storage type. They're right here. You see source storage type. Okay, I think yes, the massive selection worked. Exactly. I'm going to move everything to the right. I'm going to leave the source storage type, the section I'm going to move away, leave the bin, and I'm going to leave the destination storage type, so removing all this, and destination storage section away, destination storage bin I'm going to leave. Okay, everything else out. Now I'm going to click OK. Let's have a look at this new layout I set up. This is the new layout, so it's literally saying, oh, the item is still there. Warehouse task, item, process type, activity type, source bin, destination storage type, and destination storage bin. I'm going to enlarge a little bit the source and destination storage type so I can read properly. I think I'm ready to save this, so I'm going to save this layout. I'm going to name it MJ Open Task. I'm going to make it user specific, so only I will be able to use this selection, this layout. Okay. Okay. And now if I right click on this node, if I assign the layout variant, I should be able to assign the MJ Open Task, which means every time I use this variant node, this specific layout will be used. So that's what I'm going to do. And now I think we're good to go. So basically, if I use the standard warehouse task node, I can still do all my warehouse task selection that I need. Maybe I can select all the warehouse tasks that are open and canceled, on hold, confirmed. Let's select everything. So I would select it here. And you see that again, I have the previous layout that is currently the default layout for the warehouse task node. But if I just want to quickly select, oh, what are my open tasks moving from or to the storage type 020, double click ZMJ Open Task 020, boom. You don't need to select anything. You don't need to prepare your layout. You just have your data as you want it displayed right back at you. So that's why I really like the monitor, because operationally it can be super useful and it can save people a lot of time when they're operating their warehouse. Great. One more thing on this video. Also, one thing that often I'm asked from the business is, hey Milos, this is great, but sometimes I just keep the screen open. Maybe I go, I do some other stuff, I prepare some paperwork, or I take a coffee, I come back. Is it possible to set up this report to refresh at specific intervals, like every 2-3 minutes, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes? Is it possible to set it up to auto refresh? And the answer is yes. The auto refresh is possible on the overall monitor, so you can say that the monitor overall every X minutes it's going to refresh, or you can set up an auto refresh on specific nodes. So if I want to set up an auto refresh on ZMJ OpenTask 020, right click again, set refresh interval, and I can say that every minute this will be refreshed. Execute, and now every minute the system will automatically auto refresh. Okay? The overall refresh for the entire monitor by default is set up here in the selection, and you see that right now there's no refresh because nothing is inputted. The reports, the data here displayed on the right, will never refresh on its own. You can always click the refresh button, so you see the refresh button is here, but right now it's not going to refresh on its own. If you want by default for all the reports to auto refresh, you would need to put the interval here. So let's say every 10 minutes, please refresh the result of the monitor, and this is it. Okay, now I reopen the monitor, and here we are. Okay, great. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Have fun, enjoy SAP, enjoy WM, have a great day, and I talk to you soon. Bye.